I can consider myself a reservist. There's no one else around. I may play on Madanga. Jai Radha, Madhava, Kunja Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamunatira Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balasa Gopi Jana Balasa Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamunatire Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Status of Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Ki Sri Giri Govardhan Ki Sankirtan Yagya Ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 18, Chapter 18 is Prithu Maharaj milks the earth planet. Text 16, correct, yes, text 16. Daiteya Danava Vatsam Praladam Asurarshabam Vidhaya Duduhan Kshiram Aya Patre Surasavam Daiteya Danava Vatsam Praladam Asurarshabam Vidhaya Duduhan Kshiram Ayapatre Surasavam Daiteya Danava Vatsam Praladam Asurarshabam Vidhaya Duduhan Kshiram Ayapatre Surasavam Daiteya Danava Vatsam Praladam Asurarshabam Vidhaya Duduhan Kshiram Ayapatre Surasavam. Ladies, Caitanya, the sons of Diti, Danava, demons, Vatsam, the calf, Praladam, Pralad Maharaj, Asura, demon, Rishabham, the chief, Vidhaya, making, Aduduhan, they milked out, Kshiram, milk, Aya, iron, Patre, in a pot, Sura, liquor, Asavam, fermented liquids like beer. Translation: the sons of Diti and the demons transformed Prahlad Maharaj, who was born in an Asura family, into a calf, and they extracted various kinds of liquor and beer, which they put into a pot made of iron. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The demons also have their own types of beverages in the form of liquors and beers, just as the demigods use soma rasa for their drinking purposes. The demons born of Diti take great pleasure in drinking wine and beer. Even today, people of demoniac nature are very much addicted to liquor and beer. The name of Prahlad Maharaj is very significant in this connection. Because Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of demons as the son of Hiranyakashipu, by his mercy, the demons were and still are able to have their drinks in the form of wine and beer. The word aya, iron, is very significant. Whereas the nectarian soma was put in a golden pot, the liquors and beers were put in an iron pot. Because the liquor and beer are inferior, they're placed in an iron pot, and because soma rasa is superior, it is placed in a golden pot. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschya Desha Tarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakaptarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Paditanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Daiteya danava vatsam praladam asurashabam vidhaya duduhan shiram ayapatre surasavam. The sons of Diti and the demons transformed Prahlad Maharaj, who was born in an Asura family, into a calf. And they extracted various kinds of liquor and beer, which they put into a pot made of iron. Hare Krishna. Well, it's very interesting. It's interesting to see how these different groups of people, they extract from Mother Earth different substances, liquids, substances, and different things, which are all appropriate and relevant, and we can understand why such people would be interested in such things, because those, whatever they are, in this case, drinkable liquids, and previously the Soma Rasa was mentioned for the demigods. The demigods means up to the level of Lord Indra. So they extracted Soma Rasa, which is nectar, and it's something which increases strength and mental powers, bodily powers, something like that. But it's quite understandable in the cases of the demons that they were interested, they extracted. It was their desire specifically to get different types of liquors and beers and all these types of things. And therefore it's quite understandable that those types of things with those types of qualities or characteristics, they were assembled, they were gathered in a pot made of iron, as opposed to the Soma Rasa, which was put in a pot of gold. It's quite understandable. What may not be so understandable is, why is Prahlad Maharaj involved in this? Why didn't he just say, hang on, get someone else all right? Yeah. Like Shukracharya perhaps. He's a prominent and sort of, in a certain sense, knowledgeable type of demoniac type of person. But why Prahlad? Good question. Anyway, I couldn't figure that out really, but there are a couple of points, but I just looked in Srila Jiva Goswami's purport to this verse, and he says that this is all happening before Prahlad appeared. Prahlad has not been born yet. So what happened, Srila Jiva Goswami says, is that Mother Earth told the demons they should meditate on him, think of him, and like this, it would help them, it would help them achieve their particular goals in this situation. So that's what happened. It's not exactly that Prahlad Maharaj just willingly that he got involved. That he got involved in the process of manifesting liquors, beers, and wines, and all these just, amazingly horrible substances. And Prabhupada makes the point that today, even today, that people of demoniac nature, they're very much addicted to liquor and beer and, all that sort of thing. That, including wine, just any type of intoxicating liquids, it would appear. Yes, so actually we see in that regard that even people who, according to current social standards, are very special and noteworthy, and they're appreciated in different ways, like royalty. In England, just a matter of days ago, what's her name? This woman, young woman, Swift. Anyway, her. You've heard of her? Huh? Swift, is it? Yeah. You heard of her? That's terrible. Anyway, I heard of her too. But apparently she put on a performance, I guess must have been in London, and Prince William, who is due to become the king whenever his father resigns or passes away, which, will not be very far off in the future. He's going to become the King of England. So he was there, and there was a little video I saw. He was dancing to her. Oh, I've never heard her music, fortunately. I congratulate myself. Anyway, whatever. But, yeah. There was some video. He was dancing like, some crazy young fellow in a nightclub. Yeah, it was really gross. I just saw a couple of seconds of it. But, such a person as him, very prominent, and, he's admired by many people and taken very seriously. But he and others like him, they really not just enjoy, but they respect as being of a high standard, very highly qualified drinks, the same types of drinks. And sometimes you see some person, it's one thing to sip a bit, although even that's bad enough. But when you see people who have just indulged deeply in drinking those types of liquids, and how they become, you could say, less than animals. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Shri Giri Govardhan Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. And it's just truly, you could say disgusting, but, well, it certainly is disgusting. But it's so degrading. It turns a person who might otherwise at least be somewhat logical and, of somewhat decent behavior, it turns them into complete sort of freaks, or, well, literally crazy people. I've mentioned before, when I was young, when I was 17, I worked for a year as a reporter, a journalist in one of the second biggest newspaper in New Zealand. And there was a time when the drivers who drive these big tankers, like the same size as the petrol tankers that you see around, but they drive beer tankers. full of beer and deliver the beer to the place, the hotels and whatever. But they went on strike. They went on a very serious strike from at least 2 weeks. And so then the drinking places ran out of beer. So then they turned to the other drinks, the whiskies and the wines and whatever, and they finished all of them off too. And the country had no liquor at all. And we had a police reporter, he specialized, kind of middle-aged, very experienced reporter, and a really hard case. Wow. His name was Frank Boyle. I still remember him. So he came back one day into the hall, the reporter's hall, which is sort of half the size of this temple room, and he announced to everyone he had just been with the chief of police in New Zealand, and the chief of police in New Zealand told him that the crime rate had dropped by 90%. Anyway, consider that. It's an interesting point. And that was before I was anything to do with trying to become a devotee. But it just gives an idea. What is the standard of that sort of stuff? And of course, what are the standards, the qualities, the natures of people who are drinking these types of things, and particularly those who take it very seriously in the sense that this is high class and, cultured. I read, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, that a bottle of whiskey, I'm not familiar with whiskey, fortunately, but a bottle of whiskey, some like rare old whiskey from, 100 years ago or something along those lines, in England or maybe in Scotland, sold for well over £1 million. For those of you who are not up with the exchange rates, that's at least 23 million rands for like a litre or something like that of whiskey. And whiskey, I think, is fermented wheat. It's grains. It's made from grains of some sort. What a vast amount of money for 1 litre of something which is just rotten grains. Haribol. I mean, it really says a lot. It really says a lot about, even you can just broaden it out to humanity. And sometimes, I don't have the figures offhand, but I've seen bottles of wine and things like that which were 100 years old or so, selling for similar amounts, something like that. And what does it say for that type of person? It just tells us that the current day society is a disaster. It's just a complete disaster. And in and of itself, there is no question of them solving the problems of life. When, as Srila Prabhupada says here, these people are very much addicted to these things. Even the so-called best of them. So, anyway, Prabhupada makes the point, the comment in the purport, that because Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of demons as the son of Hiranyakashipu, by his mercy, the demons were and still are able to have their drinks in the form of wine and beer. You know how to understand by his mercy. Anyway, I won't get into that, but that's what Prabhupada said. Yes, that somehow or other he sort of cooperated in the process, or he was there at least, you know, in their thoughts. And a great devotee like Prahlad is present in his thoughts. So yes, this material world, what the material energy does to people, or what the material energy can do to people, if people really fall under the sway of the material energy, even, you know, you could say a pure spirit soul, but even, I mean, of course that's the case, but even someone who may be, you know, a moderately reasonable person can become deteriorated and degraded in the extreme by these types of things, these liquors, and even some of these prominent and famous, wealthy, and supposedly aristocratic people, they become addicted, literally, to narcotics, you know, heroin and all these types of things. They become addicted, but still maintaining a facade of being special and cultured people. So anyway, yes, this is the situation in the material world, and this is the situation on this earth planet at the current moment, that we are surrounded by, we are governed by, and sort of, you know, to whatever degree controlled by, you could say, at least in terms of the laws, by people who are, now you could say subhuman, because, well, anyway, because even animals don't drink liquor. Okay, occasionally you hear about, I read, I don't know, a year ago or something, about one bear in America who came to a campsite looking for food, and there was like a keg, if you know what I mean, you know, something like this, a barrel, like a barrel of, I think, beer, but some intoxicating liquid, probably beer. And beer for the beer. Anyway, somehow he got into it and put his head in and started drinking, and he couldn't get his head out. And the bear became totally intoxicated with this barrel stuck on his head, like, you know, like a 20-liter barrel. So if you know what a 20-liter barrel looks like. Yeah, and he was, you know, in a state. And it was so difficult to get the barrel off him because he's a bear. And, you know, they're very dangerous. Poor animal. But, you know, famously, historically, when Westerners, going back a couple of 300 years or something like that, when Westerners invaded different places like South Africa and America and these different places, the Pacific Islands, same situation. And there were the local residents who are not used to beer or whiskey, etc., etc. And like in America, well, I think in all these situations, all these places, that these local people, indigenous type of people, they were, in their own way, they had their culture and some moral standards to some extent. But when the Westerners came and introduced them to liquor, then those people became just massively corrupted. Yeah, massively corrupted. Because it's so degrading. Even I read some time ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, there's one island somewhere in the Pacific, must be in the Pacific, some island, it belongs to India, and humans, nobody is allowed to land there. And because if they do, the local people just kill them. I don't know, maybe you've read about that island. I forget the name of the island. And they kill the people. They just about, I don't know, a year or two ago, they killed a Christian missionary who landed there, with his idea of saving them, and tried to force himself upon them, and they killed him. They killed him because previously Westerners came and tried to be friends with them and took a few of them to the West. And then those people came back, 1 or 2 of them came back, in just a hopeless, horrific state through intoxication and disease, because they don't have resistance even to just simple viruses. And so these people decided no more contact with the outside world. So the Indian government has made it illegal to land on that island, and those people are just left to their own devices. Yeah. So yes, this material world, it's a hard life in so many ways, and one of the significant ways is intoxication. Yes. Even Soma Rasa, I read somewhere Prabhupada's discussing about Soma Rasa, which you just read about yesterday, I assume. And, it's a type of liquor. It's an intoxicating liquor, but it has in many ways beneficial effects, as you read. And I just noticed that through drinking it, you become very powerful in mental speculation and bodily and sensual strength. So I was reading, and this is quite some time ago actually, Srila Prabhupada's talking about Soma Rasa. And Prabhupada makes the point that if people like us drink Soma Rasa, it'll be too powerful for us, and we'll die. It's because it's just too powerful, Soma Rasa. But for demigods who have different, physical and psychological conditions, it's at least in many ways, it has positive effect on them. Yes, so these things are going on here, all these different groups. The demigods wanted Soma Rasa, the Gandharvas and Apsaras, they want milk in the shape of sweet musical art and beauty. And they took that out of Mother Earth, out of the Earth planet. And so on and so forth. Anyway, we'll be reading about that over these following days. And just one other thing I noted, Prabhupada says the sons of deity and the demons transformed Prahlad mentally in their minds, transformed Prahlad, who of course was born in a demoniac family, into a calf. And then, not that he indulged in it, but he was, the function of the calf in this type of situation. And even in the milking of cows, when they're having some difficulty milking a cow, they bring the calf next to the cow. Then the cow releases the milk, because the calf is there. So Prahlad, and like Indra, for example, yesterday, anyway, who knows with Indra, but Prahlad, there's no question of him indulging, but just by his presence, and which was mentally present, by the arrangement of Mother Earth herself, then Mother Earth, the Earth planet, released the types of things which the demons like. Not that Prahlad likes them, but his presence stimulated her like that. Hare Krishna. And the sons of deity and the demons, because now we're a couple of generations down. I mean, the sort of development of the universe. So the sons of deity are demons, and then the sons of some of the sons, or even some of the sons of deity, they're also demons. So therefore Prabhupada, or the verse says, Daitya Danava Vatsam, the actual sons of deity, and then further couple of generations who are all demons in the same family line. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any comments or questions from anyone? Words of wisdom? Jai is not here. Oh, Mother Rukmini is here. No. Okay. I think Adhokshaja Maharaj, we Caitanya говорит несколько слов. Maharaj может говорить по-русски, вы можете переводить. Да.
Спасибо большое, дорогой Махарадж, за класс по Srimad Bhagavatam.
Thank you for your Bhagavatam class, dear Maharaj.
Безусловно, актуальная тема для современного общества.
This is a very important topic for our society.
В разных странах, у нас в России тоже люди много пьют спиртного.
There are a lot of people in this world who are attached to alcohol.
И общество создания Кришны предоставляет методологию, которая в конечном итоге позволит получить другую философию и стимулы для того, чтобы преодолеть эту слабость.
And Krishna Consciousness Society gives us some method which gives us another philosophy to change our attachments.
И я хочу задать небольшой вопрос Махараджу.
And I have a question.
Здесь, в Южной Африке, тоже преданные активно проповедуют. И встречаются ли здесь Это тоже люди, которые избавлялись от алкогольной зависимости благодаря обществу сознания Кришны и практике.
Local devotees here in South Africa, they do a lot of preach and do you know such stories when people are addicted to alcohol, they released from that addiction?
Okay, that they were addicted and they became free from Hare Krishna, by Hare Krishna. Yeah, okay. I don't know if you all heard that, but I mean I could just sort of follow because of the sound system, but yeah, the point was, I mean the ultimate point was, do I know any devotees who were addicted to alcohol, but through Krishna consciousness they became free? Am I right? Right. Yes. Well, there's a number, but one prominent case who I remember clearly and who I knew very well, although he passed away unfortunately, was a devotee named Radharaman Das, who himself with his hands made, well it's gone up, but you know the metal grill in front of the deities, he made that. Yeah. And one day, would you believe, as he was in the process, almost finished but not finished, he cut off one of his fingers. Goodbye, finger. Yeah. He was back continuing to work on it later the same day with just a bandage on whichever, it was one of these three fingers, and it was practically entirely gone, but he was back working on the gate the same day. He was a remarkable person. He used to smoke. I don't know if he was a drinker, but he was a smoker. He was smoking 60 cigarettes a day. It was his normal program from Unit 1. Did you know him? Some of you would have known him. So anyway, then he went to a tent campaign with Parthasarathi Maharaj, and it struck him so deeply that day he had smoked 60, the next day he had stopped, and he never smoked another cigarette till the day he passed away, about, 20 years ago, maybe, quite some years ago. Yeah. Interesting case. Oh yeah, he was fully addicted, sure. His job was he drove a crane at the harbour for unloading the containers and things. He'd just sit there in the crane up, way up, and just smoke and smoke and smoke. Hare Krishna. But he became really, in his way, really serious devotee on the spot, literally. Interesting. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.